Man, I wanted to turn the camera. I forgot. All right. So it's 4:15 a.m. on the East Coast of the United States. And greetings, campers. So you're probably seeing the playback. So let me grab the sheet. We have important stuff. First link, second link. We had great response on Dr. Ten. I'm looking at the printer. It didn't print. On Dr. Tenpenny. So I've got another one that is an interview. It's actually her just speaking to the camera is equally great, and I hope you enjoy it as well. Simultaneously, I added one in there as number 1A. Let me see if I have this link here. I know I printed it, but then I changed the order. Hold on, I may have tossed it. Yes, here we go. Good. Greetings. We have some people here, and the chat is on. I see three in the viewing audience. I'm going to put this light on so I can see my paperwork. All right, now let me give you an update. The boxes have arrived. I have the new happy light and the stand. I didn't open them yet, so maybe we should do a box opening. That would be fun. All right, so Dr. Tenpenny is link 1. 1A is Ron Desantis. That should really be the first one. This is essential. This is the voice of reason who's calling out the hypocrisy, double standard, and inconsistent, contradictory policies and arguments being presented by the woke ones. In particular, his suggestions, or their suggestions, about restricting travel to Florida or from Florida. And it's pretty funny because he said, really, you have to watch this. This is excellent because he hits all of the hot button issues that are floating around right now. So in the list, it's number 1A. Okay. So what I did is I put that in there and then I changed the numbers. So I printed the original sheet. So my numbers might be off. But check this out. Now, he's great. You got to take a look at it because he's talking about Florida creating a right to sue the multimedia companies here. Like changing terms of service, speaking to free speech, etc. And speaking of which, I didn't get a strike. I got a warning, and they took down a video. They took down my video called Sending Donald Trump to the Ash Can of History. Or was it the dustbin? And the reasoning is that YouTube, you're not allowed to discuss issues of the election and suggesting that there may have been improper activities occurring. Just said simply, you're not allowed to discuss that on YouTube, which means political discourse is prohibited. Yet there are several cases in front of the U.S. Supreme Court examining those very issues, but they can't be discussed on YouTube. Okay, so I will make an inquiry to them whether or not political discourse is allowed on YouTube. I'm uncertain, so I'll have to inquire. But the law that DeSantis references here seems to provide remedies for that and for the Attorney General in the state of Florida. Interesting. We'll see how that plays out. Link number 2, that's after 1A, is Amazing Polly. Now, everybody, well, several comments on Tenpenny, and that was an excellent piece. There was a bit in there, by the way, where the interviewer said something about the CDC owns the leases that they've put the moratorium. So I'm like, what? How exactly did that happen? And I think that's utter nonsense. That's like tinfoil hat nonsense. I want to see how the CDC became the landlord of properties that have rent control or forgiveness. What about the other owners? How did the CDC take over? And what about the mortgages that were held and the layers of complicated financial, shall we call it, intricacies? Wow. So she made that statement, and Tenpenny says, oh no. So I don't know that she bought it. That was like noteworthy. Like, really? Come on. Somebody must have told her that she believed it and didn't look in it. I'm disappointed, but we just corrected that. Somebody needs to show me proof that the CDC owns the properties that people's rents are being forgiven or delayed on. In California, of course. All right, so we're talking about Amazing Polly, and I changed the order here. So the one I put up last time was Elections Fortified by the Secret Cabal, discussing the Time magazine article, which is great. You need to watch that. And for number two, I put in the link saying the doctor's enabling delusions. This is a very short video, and this is essential because she points out in her video that mental health 101, and I mentioned this the other day, says the first thing is you don't feed into the delusion of people who are psychotic. And the example that comes to my mind is the guy screaming at the clerk in a little store, and he's 6'4", big boy, looks like he played linebacker with a beard and long hair, and he's saying, I'm a woman, and, call me ma'am, okay? And what happens when he says, I'm a bull, or I'm a cow, or I'm a goat? At what point does he get thrown into a mental institution? So you don't feed into that by saying, okay, right? That's the instruction, and she pulls the sheet up. That's the deal with her. Again, she has been limited, and I urged the campers to support her. And if you do send a contribution, say, FJ sent me, let her know that, we're supporting her channel from the FJ crew, right? We've done that in the past. Who was our girl? Little Shaman had a crisis a couple of years ago, and we needed to move the needle. She had a GoFundMe. A tornado hit her house, damaged and injured her daughter, and she was rebuilding, and we made a difference. And thus we become a friend of the channel. In fact, I might even put a payment in from Irving Berlin and say, FJ sent me. Surprise, surprise. Okay, let's see. I got to plug in. I just got my battery notice. Hang on. Anyway, so I think just for the hell of it, I'm going to do a box opening later. What does this say? Truth is the key. Hello there. Good morning. Truth is the key. And what's that line? You can't handle the truth. Well, that sounds like censorship. Shouldn't we have a right to handle the truth? I think so. So the third one here I have, well, I think I changed it. I have two Amazing Pollys. I can't see them here, and I apologize. I didn't print them. Idiot boy. Well, it's late. I just woke up. Last night, I 2 nights in a row, I passed out and went to sleep early, had a big meal, figured I needed to catch up, get some rest, got out to the old sunlight, vitamin D area, and then yesterday was like this crazy weather, cloudy and low pressure, and then sunny, and then cloudy, and then rain, and it was like bizarre. But I'll tell you what, getting some sunshine and heat is good, all right? So the third link on my list, which is probably, might be the third, I think 1A is still there, right? That's Desantis, but he's also further down, is Lisa A. Romano. This is funny. This one popped up, and I don't remember if I had subscribed to her. I know I did on the other channel. This is about narcissistic abuse, malignant narcissists, and this is great. And I'm thinking, how appropriate in light of the, we'll call it gaslighting, and the distortions of reality that are being pitched at the public by the media, by the politicians, by the elected representatives. This is the notion of the mental game that they play to try to get you to accept. They project on you the traits that they don't like in themselves, which in my mind means it's kind of like they're projecting on you, and you're supposed to believe, but they're accusing the other side of doing what they're doing. Like that whole, what do we want to call it, that impeachment hearing is wonderful until the real evidence come out. And in order to do it, they actually had to edit videotape and clips and tweets changed dates on tweets to make it look like this was all in support of this purported insurrection. Bizarre, right? And why they weren't slapped down and charged with adulterating, fabricating, defrauding is beyond me. And how come nobody came out and said that in no uncertain terms? Okay? Now, we have winter energy prices. We've got a massive cold front. It looks like 2 million plus people are in blackout mode and out of power. In particular, it looks like Texas is getting hammered. We have some viewers. We'll have to shout out to Yvonne and Cheryl down there in Bilby. I think we're all in Texas, and I hope and pray you guys are all safe, have heat, and don't freeze. Eat gads. But are we now playing the Enron game again? And if you listen to Fox News, Weisberg or Weissman, the prosecutor, was a bad guy for going after Arthur Anderson. Okay, well, what about Enron? And look at what they did to California back, what year was that? That was in like 99, 98, right in there. And the energy prices went crazy. Isn't it curious how that same nonsense is happening right now in Texas? So I've got two links for you here on that. One is this Headlines with a Voice, which I don't listen to anymore. One of our viewers sent me, Jim out in California, and said, glad I don't live up north. But this doesn't seem to be happening up north. So this is her in her normal alarmist blather. But the Zero Hedge article is interesting that she reads from, because there's really no thinking. There's really no opinion. There's no analysis. Excuse me. It is just a rote regurgitative experience with snarky drama to make some kind of insinuation, reading somebody else's work. That's nice. However, I'm skeptical at this analysis because she's talking about spot prices of power. Now, I spoke to our Saratoga prepper, upstate New York, and he works in the power industry, okay? And I said, what's happening there? Now, they get their power, according to him, from gas. Now, I'm thinking way upstate New York probably gets power from Niagara Falls, that well-known waterfall. But if it gets too cold and the waterfall actually freezes, how does that impact turbines, right? So, winter is coming. What's his name out there? Our favorite camper that does his long-winded, well now, there you are, right? What's the name of that? The Iron Island? Greyjoy? Yeah. Hang on a second. So, we have two articles. One is Headlines with a Voice, and this is quite amazing. Why is the spot price of energy jumping to insane, like, 1,000 times higher? And that's for gas and electric. And the gas, they're playing through the Chicago Mercantile Board. What is it? The Chicago, not the Board of Trade. Man, I'm not awake yet. Hang on a second. What's the name of that place over there in Chicago? Commodities Market. Okay. So the second link is Harley Schlanger, who is discussing the Green New Deal and how the windmills that they set up to do green energy in Texas froze. They're physically frozen from the cold, and they're not turning, thus not producing energy. This is not good. Now, it seems to me that those companies will probably need to buy energy through the grid to be able to provide it to their customers. Now, the question is, do they get to change the rate that they charge their customers because they bought electricity on the spot market? Or do they take the hit and then file bankruptcy? What happened to public utility commissions? Remember, public utilities, the internet should be a public utility. I remember in New York, you had the public utility commissions had to approve a rate hike. You had the Long Island Lighting Company on Long Island, and you had, Con Ed, Consolidated Edison in New York City, right? And they were always in the news, seeking an increase and whatnot. So I don't know that this is just allowed to just jack the price up. Well, let's see, it's this month it's X dollars per hour, and then next month it's, per kilowatt hour, and next month we charge 100 times that. I don't believe that's the case, although we do have the Republican theory of deregulation, okay? So let's see how this plays. This is frightening. First, let's get through the cold so we can live to fight another day, okay? Remember, all politics is local. And I'm looking at the picture and I see my little mic here. Yeah, there was some scrunchy sounds, and I was listening to it, and I realized it was rubbing against the bandana. So that was a little odd. So no bandana. We don't want that scrunch crunch. I got that from Art and Yoga, who listens in his car. And people thought it was a good show. I thought it was a good show, too. I listened to it. A lot of interesting info. I'm thinking maybe I'm behind on my emails here. So maybe I should do a section called the mailbag because of the different links people send in. And this one from Headlines with a Voice, which I think is number 4, that's from the mailbag, okay? Next, also, I guess we'll call this out of the mailbag. This is from Ed, who has got his Patriot site up in Massachusetts. We had a good chat. This is very interesting. Harley just showed up because I subscribed to Harley. So those are 2 on the energy prices. Next, Pelosi. This is the letter to Pelosi. On my list here, it's number 5. This is pretty amusing because the title I put in, Pelosi wants a party. No, she wants a commission. Well, that opens up all kinds of fun doors, and this is an opportunity to harass and, shall we say, persuade our representatives to wake up, do their job, and get on it, right? Now, a lot of people say, hey, I got these left-wing, heavy blue Democrat people in my area. It doesn't matter. You got to let them know that you know what they're doing and that you vote. And if they have a reason to believe that your vote doesn't count, why don't they tell you about it now? You can't comment on that on YouTube, though, right? You can comment to your representatives. Check the comment that I pinned from last video. That's from The Rock. He's great. Haven't heard from him in a while. Welcome back. And great comment. I pinned it and really laid out all of the questions that need to be asked and all of the answers that need to be provided and all of the issues that needs to be resolved. Real strong. I like it. That's why I pinned it. And those, perhaps, are the questions we should be asking our representatives, right? So this letter to Pelosi is asking her questions, and this is signed by 4 congressmen, including Devin Nunes, including Jim Jordan. Now, from different committees, so it's like 4 signatures. Check it out. It's a short letter. But they're asking what her role was in this January 6th incident that people were asking for more support. They were asking for the National Guard. They were asking for additional security. What was her reaction? And what was their role in preventing additional security from happening? These are all excellent questions. And maybe she should be brought into that commission and put under oath and asked, don't you think? This commission should also inquire into the question of a couple of things that come to mind. How about George Webb and his orange hats? I'm wondering if George, you can ask him, and if I'll get him and ask him, if he has filled out an official statement under oath identifying these orange hat guys that went in, etc. And the other discussion of the story reporting these people speaking Russian. They were supposedly taking the servers. Interesting. That should be on the record. This should be in the congressional record. We don't need his testimony unless they want to call him as a witness. Maybe they do. But if he has video of that, he should produce it. This should be produced and put everywhere. Fox News should have it. Other places should have that video. So it can be shown and we can see who the real, shall we call them, protagonists of this incident and insurrection, in quotes, were. don't you think? So in my subtle way, I'm going to have to make a suggestion to Mr. Webb to do that. That's number one. That's called sharing essential evidence, isn't it? Number one. Number two, what about these supposed FBI informants? Maybe our representatives can ask about that and say, well, these FBI informants, were they told to do this, or were they just doing this on their own and informing the FBI? So if the FBI knew about it, what did they do to stop it, and or did they order it? So you've got two lines of attack there. If they knew about it, how come they didn't stop it? Period. On both cases, according to reports we have, the Proud Boys, that their leader is an FBI informant or an FBI asset. So what does that mean? He's working for the FBI while infiltrating the Proud Boys? Or was he in the Proud Boys and he's just being a snitch reporting to the FBI? Which is it? Let's get that straightened out. Let me guess. That'll be responded to, well, this is national security, sources and methods, state secrets. Our government has to keep secrets from the public because the public is a threat to the government, and the Constitution was created to protect the people from the government, but we've reversed that because we like collecting the people's taxes, printing money, paying ourselves and our friends, and investing in stock options and the casino on Wall Street. And this way, when that happens, we can make more money because, as What's-Her-Face in Cabaret says, money makes the world go round. Oh my, where's Harry when we need him now? If I was a banker. Yep. And then, of course, you have the issue of the Oath Keepers, another supposed informant. Now, I don't know if it's the national group or just a chapter, but this, they say, was an informant for the FBI. Well, does that mean that the FBI knew about this supposed planned attack by them, that they were breaching the barriers into the state building? What are we calling that building? The Capitol building, the Capitol Dome, which houses the Senate and Congress. Interesting. So they knew and they did nothing. Who gets held responsible? Who gets fired? Who gets charged with a crime, aiding and abetting or obstructing justice? And I just keep thinking of that 1993 incident where the FBI had their little informant setting up other Muslims to attack the World Trade Center and set off a bomb in the parking structure. Remember? And the guy says, well, wait a minute. I thought we were going to use fake explosives. And they said, oh, no, you can use real explosives. So what did they do? They actually facilitated, set up, arranged to have real explosives to do a real terror attack. And this was, they set it up, designed it, and facilitated it. And nobody's heads roll? Very interesting. So our government is now attacking us and hiding behind state secrets to do it. And we elected them to do that to us? Is that what the deal is? I don't know. Leave a comment on what's the best way to hold them accountable. Right? In my list here, I've got Amazing Polly. This is the Elections Fortified link. Excellent piece. And then again, after that is Desantis reacts to the proposed isolation of Florida, which I had moved and put up as 1A. I don't know, I don't remember which one I deleted, but you got to watch DeSantis, okay? It's important. I think it's number 7, but I know as a result of adding it, I had to go through and change the numbers. So you can see the numbers because they're numbered for you campers. And then we have to do a shout out to Australia, to WJ. He sent a nice donation and said, hey, buy Mom some flowers. I said, you know what? Buy a bunch of flowers. That's a great idea. I don't know why I didn't think of that, because I'm an idiot. And this way, because I do tell her that the campers hold her in her prayers and wish her well. And I think if a a good bunch of flowers appears and say, this is from the campers and Australia and WJ and FJ. And here you go, Mom. Enjoy the beautiful flowers. I love that idea, and I thank you greatly. Good stuff. Simultaneously, in the mailbag from WJ, we have an interesting link, and you got to check this out. This is Australia. This is Reignite Democracy, and I know at this hour most of my campers are probably from Australia or maybe England. I don't know where you all are at. Let's see. I see G'days. There we are. The G'day is the giveaway. All right. Just watching Manchester, England, live at midnight in Alaska. All right. What do they say? We are live. That's right. This is cool. This is a good little channel. This is the girls' BitChute channel. This is a scene in, where the hell was this? Victoria, I believe. And Black Mamba should check this out. But I'll tell you what, very disturbing. It's a good clip of protests and arrests happening in a, I guess I want to call it a marketplace, but it's really not. It's like a city center where you have lots of restaurants, et cetera, et cetera. And the dialogue from the public is good, and these cops walk around with their masks on. So these are bandits, these are criminals, these are terrorists. There's nothing that infuriates me more as police wearing masks, because I come from old school where we used to see the Palestinian Liberation Army, PLO, right? When they would attack things and they would have their terrorist masks on. Well, suddenly our police are wearing them too. And I'm wondering if that took effect after they started taking training from the Israeli Defense Forces, the IDF. Why is it that American police are being trained by them other than to give them more money from Americans? And they bring them here and we go there. And I think it's an outrage. And the tactics of our police seem to have copied those of the tactics of the IDF. Interesting. But they're big on wearing their tactical outfits and covering their faces to hide their identities. So when crimes are permitted, they can't be identified. Now these clowns, even though they're blue or black or all these designer colors and patterns, they're still hiding their identities, aren't they? Why is that? Oh, and that reminds me, I saw an interesting clip, and this is very important. The business of technology, we'll do a little live stream here, right? When Google and Amazon have, what are we calling this? Facial recognition technology, okay? And it's cloud-based. And they are selling that and giving access to that to police departments. And the police department are paying for it and using it. And when the police department is using it to do something that the provider doesn't like, they cut off access to it. So this past summer, when the riots were happening, the providers of this technology restricted or removed access from it, or access to it from the police, who were then going to use it. So I guess they decided, no, you can't use the tools, the technology, to do something we don't want you to do. So this is that corporate control. This is, again, how much of this information has been put out? The police departments were using facial recognition software provided by Amazon, which, by the way, nobody was thrilled with in the first place. But when they actually wanted to use it to protect the citizenry from criminal activity, riots, lootings, burnings, robbery, assaults, etc., violent felonies, their use of the software was prevented? Really? And that's what a problem is. This is your public-private partnership crap. And this is a corporatocracy and the control. And that's my finger thumping on the file cabinet. Boom. The other day I was flicking my lighter in the background. Isn't that annoying? That's almost as annoying as hearing the mic scraping against the bandana. Sorry, I get animated. I'm just a talking head. Know what I mean? Well, now, peaceful protests. Yeah, there's a great idea. The peaceful protests, oh, those. Yeah, the peaceful protests with the fires and the 2x4s and the gunshots and the Molotov cocktails. Those peaceful protests. Look, there's a lot of stuff coming out. Hello there, Deborah. There's a lot of stuff coming out that is showing how the media, by doing that, was following the same plan as the, what was it? The Nazi Reichstag fire. And there was an interesting clip that I heard that what Hitler did, and that people loved him. Where the hell did I hear this? This is great. It was just a little clip at the end. Oh, excuse me. It was in that interview with Dr. Tenpenny from the last show, where the interviewer says, she had a woman come in who was 103 years old and was from Germany and knew Hitler. And when Hitler started, he was very charismatic and well loved. And the way he created the hatred and the isolation of the Jews in Germany is he said that they were all infected with disease, to stay away from them. That's that ostracizing. Okay? Now, isn't that a perfect technique with the virus, right? Masks, no masks, shaming, separating, right? This whole nonsense, which is why that's such an important issue. And I think the front line on that is this link that I put into Polly, which is really brilliantly powerful and essential. It's a short video. It's maybe 4 minutes, 5 at the max. I'm looking here. Boom, boom, boom. I've got it as 6 on this sheet, but that's wrong. Might be right. It doesn't matter. It says Amazing Polly. No, that's Elections Fortified. I put this up top. The doctors enabling delusions. Again, Amazing Polly got top link in this. Check it out. Approach the doctors and ask them if they believe that these masks prevent the spread of viruses. And so, yes, the science says. What science is that? Or is it the CDC that says? Right? Or which is it? And the question is, what's the size, and have you done your own research, or are you just listening to that crap? What's the size of this virus? Is it a zero point 0.1 micron? Is a surgical mask going to stop that? Is an N95 going to stop that? And how come people in viral labs wear hazmat suits, which are oxygen self-contained units? Interesting, right? I don't know if they believe it or they're just pitching. And, just say, listen, you're just pitching for the home team? You actually believe it, or are you building trust with your patients? That's where the issue has to be taken out, because those people, doctors, veterinarians, these are people that have medical consciousness, nurses, all of these people are spheres of influence. They're influencers. They see a lot of people and can spread the word properly from a position of authority. It's very important. Anyway, so this is all the way back to, what was I talking about? The business of cutting off access to the police for the peaceful protests, right? When they needed the facial recognition to apprehend criminals and violent felons, they were denied access to it. So thus, the notion of cloud computing and, what should we call that? The technology licensing that gets removed is very dangerous, because it gives these corporate entities control, and it's crimes of omission. It would seem to me that they could be charged with aiding and abetting all of that stuff by preventing the apprehension, by preventing the use of tools. How come nobody thinks like this? I don't get it. Or do they, and they're just stifled? Unbelievable. Let's continue. Yeah, so WJ put in this Australian link, and I'm going to tell you something. You watch this, it's disturbing, because the people are helpless. They're unarmed, and you've got these cops that are bullying people and arresting them for not quite sure what. People don't know why they're being arrested, and they're taken into custody. However, Australia has been unarmed or disarmed. And it still amazes me, actually it doesn't, why there isn't a group of people pushing back on the police, saying, let this guy go, let this woman go, right? Like they did in, where was that, in Spain, I think, where they backed off the cops and they made them release the person they were trying to arrest. And they should do the same thing in Germany. But they all cover their faces with masks and helmets and have riot gear on, like football equipment, right? Military battle gear. So that's towards the end. That's called Reignite Democracy. That's Australian. So the question, Americans or Brits, when's that coming here? When's that coming there? It's time to speak up, don't you think? Right? And the last one is another mailbag thing we got from a camper out of Bend, Oregon, of all places. And I had mentioned, what's his face, from Media Matters, David Brock. So our camper sends in a link to an article. It's 2018. It's fascinating, but it's a little bit of a too much, but this is pointing the finger at and revealing Brock. It's a long thing, so click on it and scroll through it because they have, the clickbait title, I think, secret documents reveal. I don't know where they got the documents, but there's emails and their plans, and it's showing how David Brock and his Media Matters crew are central to distributing the information. Maybe these are the guys that are sending those talking points to all of the networks that have the exact same talking point on every program all through the day and night. AOC, harrowing experience. Wasn't AOC not even in the Capitol when that happened, even though she said she was? That's what I heard. So which is it? And where's the media to go beat up on her? Let me guess. She lies, makes up a story, the media pitches the story, the harrowing experience, and that was the word. Where did that come from, and how come that's binging around? That sounds like, is that a David Brock word? Interesting. So this thing goes into Media Matters and their threats to media, etc. Now, it makes it appear that these guys are very powerful. It makes it appear that these guys have massive influence. If they do actually have this much power and command fear, the question is, or the thought comes to my mind, that they are a front man for a bigger operation, right? Because this guy is not the power. He's the front man. Perhaps that Smith-Mundt group might be telling him what to do. Perhaps that Smith-Mundt group has people working in his Media Matters monarchy. That's that Corbett's guys, the media monarchy. They got two James and James. Got Japan and New Mexico. I got a lot of stuff to catch up on. That was also from our mailbag, that last link. Excellent. So again, I urge you to support the channel. I thank the campers for their contributions, donations, and the patrons. I've got to get into Patreon and bring you all up to speed again. I don't know, I got like brain damage with that, so I've got to jump in. And I did receive the light from Amazon, and I did get the boom crane and the little windscreen. I haven't opened them, and as a goof, I should probably do a box opening, right? And have cats. Oh, wait, I don't do cats. Well, we'll have Piglet, and he'll be very excited to watch the box opening. All right, we'll have some fun doing that. All right, campers, again, I appreciate the support. I encourage you to continue doing it. I support other channels, and it's important to keep independent media going. I need to make some moves because the fact that they took down a video means, that Jaws theme music is lurking in the background. It's coming. So, I like the idea of webinars, and there's a lot that has to get done. So we're going to work on it. All right. Bobby's saying, yes, AOC was in a different building. Exactly. But there's no accountability. Deborah, what are you doing up at this hour? You're in the U.S., right? What are you, in the Midwest? Brock read the syllabus. Right. Art. Art and yoga, there you are, caught you alive. If she's a witness, you're talking AOC, yeah, and she lies, she should be charged with perjury. Absolutely. And her testimony should be stricken from the record. And, in a civil trial, you remove that, and the jury can't consider that testimony, and you move for a directed verdict. If it goes the other way, you get to switch it. There's a lot of chess that goes on in there, contrary to people who think they know what 4D chess is, right? Interesting. I don't think she testified under oath. She was talking about how she was afraid, and the media made it look like and said that she was in the building and they're pounding on the door. Now, and what scene was this? Was that on the 6th? Or is she completely delusional and psychotic and having, hallucinations? Could be. Could be. Those eyes look like they could be hallucinatory, don't you think? Yeah. Outrageous. Outrageous. Smith modernization. It's an interesting article, number 9. It's huge. There's a lot of info in there. But, again, I'm not saying take it with a grain of salt. This guy is saying, oh, this proves it. Well, you get people saying this proves it. No, this is evidence supporting that, okay? And it's a little too jaundiced for my taste, but there's still information that's real good in there. And it's an amazing overview, even though it's from, March 3rd, March 3/21 of 18. So that's that's 2 years ago? All coming up on 3 years. Unbelievable. We're in 21. But there's a lot of good info in there, and that's basically when he was spooling up, and there's discussions and memos talking about removing Trump from office, talking about the process of how to do it. I think he's working closely with Soros. Remember that Vilma pulled all that stuff for us, and we, what the heck was the name of that group? We had all the documents on that, right, of their game plan to do it. It's just amazing, right? Yeah. Art and Yoga saying it's late on the West Coast. Well, it's only 2 in the morning. Hey, it's coming up on 5. It's early here, man. It's not late. I got up at, 3:30. It's because I passed out at 9, I guess, Schedules. Maybe there'll be sun out today, right? But sitting in the sunshine, laughing in the rain. Oh, and I also got a link. Evidently, the court in the Netherlands said that the lockdowns, not the lockdowns, the curfews are improper because it's only for extreme emergencies, and this doesn't qualify as such. That's good. I'm going to see about that article and shoot that over to Virginia and say, hey, this is good news. And then I'll see if I pull the links of the riots and the protests. So there were protests. According to this article in RT, it looked like there were riots and burnings of cars and things. So it looks like they turned it up pretty good, which I am glad to see. Peaceful protests, because that's what they listen to, right? What was this zinging in here? The Supreme Overlord. Yeah, okay, there's a long-winded name. Without the land, jurisdiction, and unincorporating our counties, moving the Masonic plague. Not quite sure what that long-winded political speech means. Political speech is good. What was this? Another rep, office 2 doors away from, said the insurrectionists never even entered that building. There you go. Good. Restricted travel to Florida. Yeah, hey, Joe Moss, good morning. Check out this link. I have it as 1A, and if not, it's 7. But this is real good. It's Maria on Fox News. And he covers a lot of things. It's not that one instance. It's about a 12-minute piece. There are a couple of segments. They break for commercial. We don't see the commercial, thank God. Click, ping, ping, ping. Desantis speaks good about a lot of stuff. Impressive. We push him in the right direction, and he's talking about having safe places where they're not going to tolerate riots. And he said, look, I don't care where the riots are, why you're protesting, etc. You start wrecking property, hurting people, attacking police officers, you're going to jail. That's what we're talking about. It's law and order, left, right, or whatever. So step up. That's the way the hell it should be. Why are we thinking he's positioning for a presidential run? Wonderful. But let's survive this nonsense. And he's still pushing out on the vaccines. He's saying 40% of the seniors have received the vaccines. Now, I guess that's following. And he said those that want them. Okay? He's very clear on that. He's not forcing this on anybody, but he is pushing them out, making them available to the supplies they get, because the media is attacking him on a daily basis, saying he's not distributing the vaccines. We don't have it. They got the fear tactic, the urgency, the scarcity. Oh, you can't get them. You can't get them. Bullshit. You can get them. 40% of the seniors have gotten them, those who want them. And this is the most vulnerable population. So it's an excellent little interview. I should move that to the top. Check it out. All right, campers. Thanks for tuning in. Real small crowd. It's good to play to a quiet room. If you like the thinking, give it a thumbs up, leave a comment, and subscribe. What's that little bumper sticker? Like, share, subscribe. That's good stuff. Is that Mamba? There you are. All right. 9 p.m. on Australia. Yeah, I'll mess with everybody on this Mamba. It's 5 in the morning. I figure, listen, surprise, surprise. Got a couple of links here. I put in Reignite Democracy from Australia. This is from Victoria. That's like link 8 or 9. And interesting stuff. But check out Desantis and another thing from Tenpenny. Good stuff. All right, campers. Glad you popped in. In Boston, over and out. There you go, 5 a.m. 5 a.m. Do you know where your bagel benders are? There you go. Feels like a weekend today, doesn't it? And it's a Wednesday. That's odd. All right, we're getting max headroom. I guess we're going to sign off. Thank you for the support. Please continue supporting it. We need to keep private media up and running. And we are, again, I share with other people, and we have got to keep independent voices up and live. All right? Thank you kindly. We'll see you all later. Bye for now. See this last comment. Well, let's see what happens Friday. Good question. And those words, EF, you're not allowed to say them on YouTube. You can't say that on YouTube. I got a notice from that. They took down my one from sending Trump to the dustbin. Interesting. All right, we'll see you all later. Bye, Mamba. Ciao for now.